that Americans helped liberate. And tonight we have
Courtesy of
pictures of people
CNN
who are
Our
grateful for
Report.
that, people who took to the streets carrying pro-American signs, thanking Americans, thanking Ambassador Stevens, who had many friends in Benghazi, denouncing terrorism. For its part, the Libyan government, which first took root as the Libyan opposition in Benghazi, has also condemned the killings. The Libyan Prime Minister today announcing that one suspect is now in custody in connection with the killings and several more are being sought. Arwood Damon is in Benghazi, Libya, for us tonight. She joins us by phone. So does former CIA officer Bob Baer, retired Brigadier General David Grange. So Arwood, we're learning details about how the attack was organized, about some arrests that were made. What's the latest? What do you know?
Well, the government is saying that they've arrested one individual in association with these attacks. They're not specific at this stage exactly which organization he may have been a part of. They've been saying that they're in pursuit of 4 or 5 other individuals. The government at this point in time is fully aware that it has the responsibility to the United States, to which it is greatly indebted, and to its own people to take concrete action against those that have perpetrated this attack, and that it also needs to really begin to seriously address the issue of these effectively armed militias that roam around with complete and utter impunity up until now. And this is not an isolated incident. This most certainly is not the first time that Western interests have been targeted, specifically inside Benghazi. But the government now does realize that it has to begin to put measures into place to rein these groups, and it has in the past said that it is not capable of going up against these various armed extremist militias. But it most certainly is going to take all of the efforts that it possibly can to conduct this joint investigation with the United States. The severity of what has transpired, the tragedy of what has transpired, most certainly is not lost on anyone here at this point in time. And they're also fully aware of what the potential consequences could possibly be, Anderson.
Bob, CNN Suzanne Kelly has learned that U.S. intelligence believes it's very unlikely this was core al-Qaeda behind the attack, but officials are not yet ready to identify a group, as Arwood talks about. You've talked before about how that area has become a hotbed for militant groups, and that this sort of thing could be just the beginning.
Well, I think it is. There's large parts of the country that are definitely not under the control of the central government. I keep on hearing reports of weapons going into sub-Saharan Africa. And there's these shadowy groups, whether really the names don't matter, whether it's Al-Qaeda or Al-Qaeda in the Maghreb or the Salafis, just seem to assume to take names. And these groups are self-organized. There's weapons all over Libya, and this is going to be an extremely difficult investigation to conduct, especially for Americans, because we simply can't put people out in around towns and on the country because it's too dangerous. We have to defer to the Libyans. It's a new government. They're not particularly well trained. We don't know who these people are exactly. It's a chaotic situation, and I just don't think we should expect answers anytime soon.
And General Grange, I mean, a lot of the foreign jihadis who went into Iraq to fight against the U.S. came from Libya, particularly from eastern Libya, the Benghazi region and east of that. The U.S. is now deploying drones, warships to the region. How do you go about, though, launching a military response, if it comes to that, against militants inside Libya? It's complicated.
Yeah, that's very difficult. I just been over there twice and moved around between Tripoli, Benghazi, Tobruk. The 4 different power groups, you do have brigade commanders that have their own autonomy in certain regions. You have sheikhs, you have tribal chiefs, and then you have the Transnational Council, and you have ministries. And no one really controls everything. And we've met very, very good people there, moved around with them. But we had to change our route several times because of the Salafis, getting the word that we were there, and they were worried about our movement, so we had to change. So when our people go in there targeting, who do you hold responsible? How do you find them? I mean, you can't punish a population. And so it's very difficult to find those that are responsible and to really take much action. We have to reinforce the consulate and embassy with Marines. We have to have a force off the coast to do emergency evacuation if required. But the Libyans basically asked us, and we're the civilian private organization now, because we're setting up humanitarian assistance prospects, they asked us, America needs to be here. We want your business here. They all were wearing American flag pins on their clothes. They didn't want the Chinese. They didn't want other nationalities. They wanted us. And we're very slow to get set up there. And so you're not going to stop some of these military